Good morning again. I think we can already start. We wait a couple of minutes. It's already 3, 4 minutes. Thank you, all of you, for your attendance and your assistance here, and also to the speaker for the kind participation here in the webinar today. This is the first of the webinar of the Women for Circular Furniture Conference cycles. Today we will go deeper in empowering women leaders in the furniture sector, exploring challenges that women face in leadership roles within the furniture industry, and different training tools and initiatives that foster equality. I didn't present myself. I'm Juan Ortega. I'm project manager of CETEN, Technology Center, sorry, for the furniture sector in Spain, and I'm in charge of some part of the project. One of the tasks, the organization of this series of conference cycles. So the agenda for today is I will present a very brief about the circular project. That is what we are doing now and in the next year. Later on, we will have the keynote speech of leadership skill for women working in traditional industry made by my colleague Raquel Ortega. And after that, we will have the presentation of different European initiatives and tools related with the topic. So just to start with the circular presentation, this is a European project funded by the Erasmus Plus program with the main objectives to develop or provide a new job profile that is the Circular Economy Transition Manager. And for that, we have developed a new job curriculum and the different educational resources for that. This is, as I said, co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program, started in the beginning of 2024, and it will last at the end at the beginning of 2027, so we still have one full year of the project. We are working here 9 countries, eight from the European Union plus Ukraine, and the funded from the European Union is 1,100,000 euros. So behind the project is led by Ambit, that is the living spaces cluster of Catalonia in Spain, and we have 16 partners that we have a furniture business association, as for instance Federlegno in Italy. We have also the European Federation of Industries, that is EFIC. We have some universities at the Polytechnic of Milan, the University of Vaasa in Finland, or the Karlsruhe Institute of Technologies from Germany. Research and development centers, in this case we have CETEN involved in the project, but also, for instance, we have ASLAM. And also we have a company like Metodo, expert in e-learning, because we will see later that the final result of the main result of the project is going to be a learning course. After work to discover or to analyze the different gaps and knowledge and skill gaps in the furniture sector related with the circular economy, we have a deep survey with companies and professionals. We reached the agreement, or this is the main results. That is the curriculum that we will provide. It's created by 10 different learning modules covering 69 hours of learning times. And in each of the modules, there are different units, learning units or pills, we call it pills, that provide different, all the knowledge or all the different resources necessary for these circular transitions. We start with a circular economy introduction in the module 1. In the second one, we have legislative instrument applied for the circular economy in the sector. The third one, we see different voluntary instruments. It could be the different ISO or the FSC certificates that could be applied for the sector. We have also business models or servitization, this kind of new business model that could be applied. Circular design, that is so important at the very beginning of the furniture process in a new product, and the new and sustainable material that could be applied. In Module 7, we have the technologies related with Industry 4.0 and how they can facilitate or foster the circular economy. And Module 8 is focused in the processes of the manufacturing that should be modified or should be how they can be modified, thinking in more sustainability in companies. Module 9 is about the strategy that a company can should develop for the circular economy transition. And at the end, we have our wrapping up and future direction modules. As I said, this is an e-learning course. We are working now in finalizing the platform. This is a screenshot of the platform that will be very soon available, where all the students can register themselves and follow the different modules and pills. So the learning content the student will discover or will have access in the learning platform. They will have the course books or textbooks with all the information. They will have also some good practice and examples that companies that are already working on that. Videos about specific points of the points of the of the course, okay? Glossary in each of the pills with the key important concepts. We have also interviews with companies and additional resources that could be found online. There are much more things. We have podcasts, we have a lot of resources, but these I think are the most important or more important for the students and for the companies. Additional to this, we have an interactive tool, a kind of gamification, we can say, where the student can play, but also learn at the same time, even in circular economy and even the English related with that, because this is not translated. The other course, the learning platform will be translated in the different languages. All the pills will have a test, an exam. When you pass, you have your micro credential. It's a certificate for each of the pills, like this. And in parallel, now we are working on an assessment tool that any student and interested could take at the very beginning and answer some question about your current knowledge and provide you the specific modules or pills suggesting the student go to do, okay? So, as I said, we are finalizing this. It will be ready. We are going to start a pilot test in December or early next year. So, if any is interesting, you can go through the website and write or contact us to participate in this pilot. If you have any questions, I didn't say anything. You should write in the chat, okay? And we will answer after during the webinar. And this is the presentation for the circular, but now we go deeper in the topic today to the webinar. We start with the key speak about the leadership's skill for women working in traditional industry, challenges and opportunities by my colleague, project manager at SETEM, also that is Raquel Ortega. So Raquel, thank you and the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. There you go. Just 1 second. Can you see the full screen now? Yes. Okay. So this presentation is going to delve a little bit on the challenges that women find in traditional sectors. First, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Raquel Ortega Martinez. I'm a project manager of European projects, and I'm going to speak about the findings of 2 projects in which we have participated in the last years that are related to female empowerment and women representation, especially in traditional sectors. So first, I'm going to start with some information that I think is going to set up the picture very well for what we are going to discuss afterwards. So I'm sorry that you cannot read the text very well because it's in white and it's a little bit small, but I will read it for you. It says that women in non-executive roles in the largest companies in the EU 28, represent 18.8%. Women board members in the largest companies in the EU represent 17.8%. Women in executive roles in the largest companies in the EU represent 11.8%. And women presidents of the largest companies in the EU represent only 2.8%. So as you can see in the images, the figure of the female is slowly shrinking until it becomes very small compared to the male figure. So women represent half of the global talent pool, but 1 in 3 women working in Europe feels disadvantaged in the workplace. So to address this, there was a project in which we participated a few years ago called Women in Power, which we have some of the partners attending today. I think we have Julio and Max and Mirella attending today. It was a project in which we developed a research phase that I'm going to present afterwards because I think the findings are very relevant for the topic today. This project was a European project under the Erasmus Plus call for vocational education and training. And 7 partners participated. We had Amuebla, which is the furniture cluster of the region of Murcia. Then we have Romanian Textile Concept. We have Innova, which was a consultancy from the UK. We have Campus Iberus, which is a conglomerate of 4 universities in Spain. Then we had an association, the Women's Directors in Malta. We had the University of Kaunas in Lithuania, and then we have Ambit also as a partner. In this project, as I said, we had 7 organizations from Spain, Romania, Lithuania, UK, and Malta. And our goal was to promote professional leadership and the empowerment of women working in traditional sectors. And for that, we developed a free online training available in several languages. Our idea was to develop a project that served as a tool to support gender equality and gender balance in European's board of directors, providing women with skills and competencies that they need to advance in their professional careers and to acquire managerial skills. And in this regard, the sectors that we addressed were furniture, textile, and leather footwear. So at the end of the project, we developed 3 main results. The first one, which I'm going to present today because I think is the most relevant for this topic, was a report detailing the professional profile of European women working in traditional sectors and trying to provide a solution in terms of skills and competencies that they should acquire. The second one was based on the first one, which was a comprehensive course for women that was aimed at promoting basic skills and also transversal skills to help them climb the professional ladder and achieve executive roles within their own industries. And then the last one was a platform that hosted that training path that we developed. And that was available for 5 years. And it was a learning platform where they could just take the course at their own pace, in their own homes, and in different languages. So this is the report that I was talking about. In this report, which was the research phase of the project, what we did was examine the barriers, the motivations, and the skills of women working in those sectors that I mentioned, furniture, textile, and leather footwear, to understand why they are underrepresented in executive positions and how training can support their empowerment and their leadership. So 2 surveys were developed to obtain our results. The first one was dedicated, or was not dedicated, was targeted to women already working in executive positions, and we got 152 women to answer. And then we had another survey which was targeted to women working in traditional sectors, but not yet in management, and we had 166 women to answer. The respondents mainly were from the partners countries, but we also had participants from Netherlands, North Macedonia, France, Malaysia, Moldova, Greece, Poland, Slovenia, Italy, and Panama. And almost 60% of them work in the furniture, textile, and leather footwear industries, but we also had representatives from other sectors such as education, finance, health, transport, advertising, telecommunications, public administrations, logistics, marketing, sales, etc. And most of them had more than 10 years of experience in their sector, so they knew their sectors very well. The results stemmed from this research phase. I had divided it into group or into categories. The first one was related to training and skills, and it was very interesting to find out that despite them having a lot of experience, let's say, and technical expertise in their own industries, they don't have managerial or strategic or leadership skills needed to advance in their executive positions. But at the same time, most of them agreed that continuous learning and long life learning was very important to them, and that they understood that this was the way to progress into their careers. In terms of career aspirations, most of them aspire to higher positions within at least 5 years since the survey. They were highly motivated, they wanted to advance in their career, and they wanted to take on more responsibilities and try to achieve those leadership roles within their own organizations. But at the same time, they said that they lacked self-confidence and they were not assertive enough, or they thought that cultural stereotypes were affecting their progression in their career. Other results were barriers to advancement. The first one, which was mentioned by pretty much all of them, was work-life balance. For them, it was the main difficulty in advancing into their professional careers. But also gender discrimination and stereotypes were acknowledged by almost 60%, 60 to 65% of the women who responded to the survey. And at the same time, they said that they face these structural and cultural barriers that include that they were not visible enough within their own organizations, and that they felt that there was an underrepresentation of women in leadership roles. In terms of support systems, they identified their families and their partners as their main sources of support. But they also understood that they needed support from professional networks, other women's or unions, especially in terms of having other women mentoring them to advance in their careers. And they also identified some of the most valued skills among successful female managers that were perseverance, organizational capacity, emotional intelligence, traits that can be learned through training and mentoring programs. So in this regard, which were the main challenges identified in this research? The first one, as I said, was the work-life balance. It was an obstacle for most women as they struggle to balance their career development with family and caregiving responsibilities, because as we know, unfortunately, caregiving responsibilities are still mainly a women's role today. There was also a mention about not having visible role models within their industries, that they understood that there were very few women who had leadership positions. And because they didn't have those visible role models, they sometimes thought that they could not reach to management positions because there were very few women. And at the same time, they would like to be mentored by other women who were already in management positions to see how they could progress into their careers. They also face gender stereotypes and discrimination. And it's true that things have changed a little bit, or a lot, I would say, in certain countries in the last few years since this project ended, which was in 2020. But they still mention that cultural expectations, masculine norms in industries such as the furniture or manufacturing, which are very male dominated, sometimes discourage them for trying to advance in their careers. It's not that they don't want to, it's that sometimes they think that because of those gender stereotypes, they cannot advance. At the same time, they have very limited access to training. Some women face constraints in terms of time, in terms of costs, or in terms of their own companies not providing training for them or not encouraging them to keep their lifelong learning. And there were also internalized barriers. We always talk about the glass ceiling. We always talk about the sticky floor, about the broken rung. But at the same time, they displayed not very, but low self-confidence or hesitance to take risks because they thought that they didn't have the skills that needed for those positions. In terms of skills need, the first one mentioned by them was strategic management and decision-making skills. They want to manage, or they manage, sorry, teams or departments within their industries, but they don't have access to higher level business planning, risk management, and strategic visioning that will allow them to keep progressing into their careers. They also mentioned self-confidence and assertiveness, as I mentioned before. They also mentioned something about negotiation and leadership communication, that they thought they didn't have the skills enough, although they tend to excel in empathy and collaboration. They identify a need for stronger persuasion, negotiation, and conflict management abilities, sorry. And the last one, because those are very traditional sectors, there was this lack of digital and language skills, and especially in multilingual communication, that they thought would strengthen their competitiveness within their organizations. Which are the opportunities for women to grow? Because I think we have analyzed the challenges, we have analyzed the skills, but what are the opportunities to grow for women to grow in traditional industries? Well, first of all, we need to develop specialized courses in management, communication, and confidence building, especially for women working in these industries. Every industry has their own idiosyncrasy, and we need to acknowledge also what happens in industries where they are male dominated, or there are very few women, or if there are women, they are in lower positions. We also need to develop mentorship and networking programs. We need to create programs that empower women and let them see other women working in higher positions, so that they themselves believe that they can reach those positions. But also networking opportunities where they can exchange knowledge, build visibility, exchange experiences at the same time. We think this is a very key aspect. But we also need organizational reform. We need to promote flexible working arrangements, anti-discrimination policies, a more presence of gender equality strategies and gender equality plans within the organizations, not because they think it's mandatory by law, but because companies truly believe that by developing their own gender equality strategies, their innovation capabilities are going to be increased, with which they are. We also need to develop more digital and transversal skills, especially regarding to ICT and innovation, but also other skills that we identified within this ever-changing global and digital economy. And the last change is we need to include, the last opportunity, sorry, is that we need to include more training for cultural change. We need to integrate gender equality education at all levels, especially in vocational education and training in more technical sectors, as we think is the way to dismantle all these stereotypes and support a new generation of women who can confidently progress in their professions and in their careers to advance these leadership positions. So now this is the training platform that we developed. Those are the modules that we developed for the training course. The first one was about gender and feminism. Then we had gender policies at the workplace, motivation and goal setting, emotional intelligence and NLP, sorry. We had effective communication, management and leadership, and lastly, career opportunities. So this project started in 2017 and ended in 2020. So unfortunately, these training materials are not available anymore, at least not online, because they were available for 5 years. So now they just expired a couple of months ago. But if anybody is interested in the presentations or in the materials, I have my email at the end of my presentation. Please let me know, and I will be happy to send them to you. Also, they were available in different languages. They were available in English, in Spanish, in Romanian, Lithuanian, English, I already said, and I think those were the languages. Yes, those were the languages. So now, how can we change the culture within organizations, and especially within companies and SMEs, towards this cultural change that needs to happen, this change of mentality where we acknowledge gender equality as one of the pillars of the organization, as a stepping stone for diversity in general in the organization? In this, I'm presenting another project, which is called Penelope, which finishes next week. It's another project that we started with Women in Power, and from then on, our organization started working in different gender equality and female empowerment projects. And this is the last one that we have developed. It's a very successful project that has been going on for the past 3 years. And we have taken a cluster-based approach, and our goal was to foster and integrate gender mainstreaming strategies into European SMEs. So this project, again, was an Erasmus Plus project. It was coordinated by a French cooperative of enterprises called Oxalis. Then we had Amuebla, again, the furniture cluster of the region of Murcia in Spain. We had Romanian Textile Concept, again, another partner from the Women in Power project. Then we have Lucia Sil as a consultancy expert in clusters. And then we had France Clusters, which is the National Association of Clusters in France. So in this project, our goal was mainly to use clusters as a change in how to transmit these gender equality strategies and gender equality plans or gender equality activities, how SMEs can integrate those perspectives within their daily practices with many different things. Our first result was this gender equality training handbook, which is a very thorough document in which we have included many things. But I think it's very interesting because we developed it with a cluster perspective in mind, but any type of organization or SME can make use of it. We include glossaries of basic concepts and legal frameworks, but we include 28 good practices and 20 interviews from all around Europe from different types of organizations like public organizations, clusters, SMEs, universities, networks, trade unions, etc. across Europe. And in this handbook, what we identified, the second part of the handbook, is the practical toolkit for gender mainstreaming. So what we did is we identified 8 focus areas, which are, as you can see here, workplace culture and institutional transformation, talent recruitment, career progression and access to training, equal pay, working conditions, health and occupational safety, maternity, work-life balance, flexible working arrangements. We have sexism and harassment in the workplace. And the last one was gender monitoring, performance, and reporting. And within them, there are 18 very practical tools that any company can implement into their daily activities. There is an explanation on how to do it on your activities. And the goal was to provide SMEs with a framework with which they can start the change within their organizations. And we also have developed an e-learning platform, which is already open to the public. Again, if you want the links, just email me and I will send everything to you. There are 2 dedicated e-learning paths. One is dedicated to SMEs with 8 modules, each one corresponding to each one of the 8 areas. And the other one is a training path for cluster organizations with 5 modules. We have gamified content to enhance engagement and participation and active learning. We have a lot of interactive learning resources. We have videos that we have developed, video pills that we have developed with some of the tools, but also with interviews and best practices. And after you take all of the modules, you can download your own certificate that assesses that you have passed the Penelope training course. So this was all on my side. I hope that with this presentation, we can see the progression between what are the challenges and what we can actually do. There is an enormous space for growth for women within traditional industries, even if sometimes they are very underrepresented, which still they are. We hope that this will change in the next coming years and that there is a cultural shift towards gender equality that we can all be a part of. And I think with these circular conferences, we can see this change also as a stepping stone in our industry. So thank you very much for your participation in this conference, and thank you very much to Juanjo for inviting me to take part.
Thank you, Raquel, so much. I think the presentation was so nice and interesting. We have a brief overview of the challenges for women in traditional industry, and we have a deep, brief presentation about two opportunities already we developed with these Women in Power and Penelope projects. If you have any question, as I already said, you can write in the chat. We will be more than happy to answer you. Uh, we are going to continue with the next part. That's, sorry, that is other initiatives and opportunities that are working also to empowering women leaders and to make this cultural transformation in the organizations. We are going to start with Todora, that is researchers from the Department of Land, Environment, Agriculture and Forestry in the University of Padova, and is the coordinator of ForGEDI, that is the International Union of Forest Research Organization Task Force, and the title of the project is Gender Equality, Diversity and Inclusion within Forest-Related Sector. So thank you so much, Todora, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I shared my slides. I hope you can see them. First of all, thank you for the invitation. As you mentioned, I'm a researcher at the University of Padova.
I think, sorry, Todora, I think we can see the other screen. Where you could...
Sorry. Is it okay now?
No, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Super. So I'm also coordinating a larger group of scientists, researchers, and practitioners under International Union of Forest Research Organizations. So maybe just a few words about UFRO. So that is non-governmental, non-political, non-discriminatory organization established a long time ago in 1892 that currently gathers 630 organizations, mostly from education and research forestry sectors, with the aim of promoting knowledge and sharing knowledge related to sustainable forest management. So I'm here today to share our success story on the massive open online course on gender equality, diversity, and inclusion in forestry-related sectors that we developed. But before talking about the project itself, the course itself, a few words why we decided to do it. So as you know, in the past, work in the forest was dangerous, was risky. It implied having a strong body as you had to manipulate heavy and strong tools. But with time, environment change, demands change, and we have this global demand for sustainable forest management. And with that, we also have new societal challenges, increased use of space and wood as resource, but we also have new opportunities related to emerging technological solutions with precision forestry techniques. And we see the need to change this very well-packed traditional technical skills related to forestry and wood utilization into getting enriched with administrative business soft skills. And as we heard also from Raquel and from her project, that there is also need for mainstreaming gender equality topics in education. We also think that this is very important, not only to make women equal in the forestry and forest-related sectors and to provide equal opportunities and good working conditions for everybody, but simply because with the new policies and new demands, more and more professionals are actually needing knowledge and skill related to gender equality and mainstreaming. So as Raquel also gave some statistics, I do have some complementary ones. So we know that sector, forestry, wood industry, furniture are dominated by men. And she showed also some percentages. What I would add to that is that we know that approximately 14% of forest workers are females. We know that that percentage goes much higher when we talk about informal labor conditions, where women make 70%. And only few percent in decision making. We saw numbers like 18%, 13%. When it comes to the ownership of the companies in forestry and wood industry, the percentage goes as low as 0.5%, depending on ethnicity. So this was also recognized by the International Forestry Student Association, which in 2021 made an open letter in which they called for gender equality in forest education and gender-aware learning environment, all forestry higher educational institutions. So at that time, within UFRO, we had a former task force that was related to gender equality. And in 2021, the IFSA letter was a trigger for us. And we said, we have the capacity in the group. We should try to do something, as we haven't found courses related to gender in forestry sector really available at universities. So over the course of 2 years, we gathered 42 contributors from 30 organizations from 5 regions from the world. You can see a lot of the logos there. So the contributors included both academia and practitioners. And we were also funded and supported by University of Padua, Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences, University of Hong Kong in Canada, and UFRO, and also co-funded by FSC that supported us to make the materials and make them freely accessible and available. So after 2 years of work approximately, we launched our course, Gender Equality, Diversity and Inclusion in Forestry-Related Sectors, which we short call ForGEDI MOOC. So this is a massive open online course. It is hosted at FutureLearn platform, which is one of many platforms where you can take self-paced learning. And what we are very happy is that in 2024 and up to 2026, April 2026, we managed to, let's say, obtain sponsors. For this year, the sponsor is Nordic Forest Research. So the materials are accessible all the time. The course lasts 3 weeks, but you can come back and go again through the materials, and towards the end, after completion of a test, you can also earn a certificate. So in 3 weeks, what we provided, we wanted to make something very basic, so course that is suitable for those who have no knowledge or are quite knowledgeable. So we spread the course in 3 weeks, in total 12 learning hours. And in first week, we provide basic conceptual and theoretical explanations on the topics of gender equality, diversity, inclusion, but also some policy perspectives. In the second week, that was coordinated by Professor Stephen Wyatt from University of Hong Kong, we actually provide a framework to the learners to identify and analyze gender-related barriers. And for this, we prepared a portfolio of real case studies from all over the world that are related to forestry, climate change, entrepreneurship. And then in the third week, we are moving towards strategies and tools that are available and could be used to advance the situation related to gender equality, diversity in forestry sector. So the course we developed predominantly having in mind the students of faculties from forestry, agriculture, bioeconomy, and similar. But in the same time, we were aware that also educators are lacking resources, and that resources should be also suitable for professionals. So we have a variety of materials, articles, short articles, videos, podcasts, quizzes, that makes the learning interesting and suitable to different target groups. What FutureLearn does as a platform, they collect the data of the people who enroll and take the course. They call them learners. So in 1.5 years, how long the course is already online, we had a bit more than 2,000 enrollments. And we are very proud that our dropout rate is around 3%. This is amazing, amazingly low, as in many massive open online courses, the dropout rates are much higher, like between 10 and 30%. So FutureLearn also collects the data about the countries, and we are very happy to see that our course reached many countries in the world. Most of our learners, though, are coming from India, Germany, Kenya, Indonesia, but then also Brazil, UK, Nigeria, Italy, USA, and Pakistan. So those are top 10 countries from where people enroll to the course. And of course, FutureLearn and us also are following the responses to the evaluation survey that is not obligatory. So it could be taken by learners if they wish. So based on 162 responses that we collected, we see that actually 97% of the learners said that they did gain new knowledge by taking the course, and 77 say that they applied what they learned. So this is also a very good indicator for us. So we can see actually that the knowledge that we managed to provide is applicable in real lives and practices. And what is also very interesting and makes us very proud is that staggering 98% of those who filled in the survey said that the course either met or exceeded their expectations, but also 86% of those learners said that they shared, so they spread the word and they passed the knowledge that they obtained to the others. So this is exactly the change that we want to see and achieve with mainstreaming, to see that the topic is talked about and more knowledge is generated in population. But we have a legacy. The course is there. It will be there. It is currently only in English. So we are continuing with the new ForGEDI UFRO task force to advance gender equity, diversity, and inclusion in forest-related sectors. And we aim to do that in the next 5 years, for which we have the mandate to 3 specific objectives that are related. The first objective in our team of the task force is related to advancing knowledge and understanding of GEDI barriers, but also opportunities. The second objective is working on maintaining the MOOC, translating the existing course into other languages, such would be Spanish or German or French and others, but also developing new materials and new courses, as this is evolving topic, and we should stay up to date with the developments. And lastly, we have the stream and the objective that is dedicated to creating and enhancing international and regional collaboration and partnership. So our task force is quite big already now. We have around 90 members, yet we still have to do a lot of work with respect to the outreach to different regions and improving equality in our structure. So if you are interested into the work of the task force, I invite you to scan the QR code and you can get more information. You can become a member, which is voluntary and free, or you can just contact us for more information. Okay, that would be all from me. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I think you are switched off, Uncle. I see you talking. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. I said thank you to Dora for the presentation and for success initiatives you have presented today here. We jump to the next speaker is Irene Burroni, Innovation Manager in the Experimental Center for Furniture and Furnishing. They are also partnered in our project, in the Circular. But today she's going to speak about the FLIER, the Circular Furniture Designers project. So Irene,
Good.
and stop.
I share. I do share my screen. Do you see correctly?
We see the other screen, yes.
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Now, perfect.
Now it's okay.
Yes.
Okay. I represent CSM, which is also a cluster known as, you see my logos, DID, Distretto Interni e Design. It's an interiors and living spaces related cluster in Tuscany. And we are still partner of FLIER project, which is about to close. And it's related to the future of furniture, circular furniture designers for a sustainable industry. So it's an Erasmus Plus project, which has been funded under national funds managed by Spain in that case. And Ambit was our coordinator. I should go to the next. Yes. These are the partners of FLIER. So we have Ambit Living Spaces Cluster, who is also coordinating Circular, Cluster Friuli Venezia Giulia, which is North East Italy cluster related to the sector, EFIC as the federation, European Federation for the sector that we have already mentioned, then the Wood Cluster in Slovenia. And we were supported also by the Atlantic Technological University in Ireland. What's the project about? We worked a lot on developing training contents related to the target of designers in the sector of furniture, aiming at supporting their knowledge in sustainability and circularity. This project goes together with Circular because they have a different approach to a different target, but still we are tackling the circularity topic. Here you have the project website with all the references. Our main activities were related to the development of a new curriculum for circular furniture designers. We developed the training course online for them, and then we had some very interesting and practical activities like a pilot course, a hackathon, and that we managed as CSM, and a physical mobility, which was still in Italy, but managed by Cluster Arredo Friuli Venezia Giulia. The objectives were mainly three. So on one side, to develop a new curriculum for the circular furniture designers that was supposed to be aligned with the principle of circularity and circular economy and sustainable design. Supporting the sector's transition then towards the greener industry and reducing the footprint in general, and then meeting the demand for skills and knowledge in circular furniture design. These main objectives comes from the idea and the fact that we know that designers are a key stakeholder in the value chain of the furniture and living spaces sector. So in order to support also manufacturers and producers to actively implement their circular transition, designers are needed, especially with this kind of knowledge. The pilot course was related to what was putting in place the main modules that the participants had used. So we had 4 modules of contents, one on circular design process, one on legislative framework for furniture industries, the third on voluntary instruments, and the fourth on effective environmental communication. It was online for quite a long period of time, and we had 139 students that were reached from different provenance. So there were students from high schools, but also from universities that were involved in the different countries. These are the 4 training modules I was talking about. So at the level of circular design process, we were teaching everything that was related to circular economy skills, specifically for the designers, covering design principles, sustainable life cycles, and waste minimization. At the level of legislative framework, we were talking about regulations and strategies for sustainability in the furniture sector that are fast changing in this period. The voluntary instruments on the other side were tackling everything that was related to all those tools that companies can adapt and use, especially with attention to the green public procurement, eco-labels, certifications, and sustainability standards that are actually accessible for the companies on a voluntary basis. Then effective environmental communication was also tackled, as it's an interesting point for all the stakeholders to consider. So promoting, in this case, transparent communication and collaboration to inspire sustainable consumption and circular design practices. These are the 4 training modules as they appear in the platform that is accessible, so with free contents for everybody. And at the end, we had not just the accessibility to the pilot course, but also an international hackathon, which was carried out with 5 different groups of students, both coming from high schools and from universities. At the end, we had 20 participants from the different countries, so Italy, Spain, Slovenia, and Ireland. They worked for 1 month on the application of the circularity principles that they had studied thanks to the pilot course, and they developed circularity-related concepts. How they did it by addressing a real challenge with a company, which comes from a designer. The company is named Suru. And it's a Spanish company that was born from the designer's competencies and then now is producing products. So the perspective was right, the perfect one for the challenge that they had to tackle. And at the end, they were physically in presence, presenting their projects, and they were evaluated by like a commission that we set up, and the adherence of the concept to the scope of the Suru company was well evaluated and awarded. So the Irish group at the end won. But it was just a way to show that they had acquired competencies related to sustainability and circularity, and see how they could put them in practice very easily. Then they took part to the physical mobility, which was 3 days of activities, visiting the eco-design platform and the furniture technologies innovation platform in Friuli Venezia Giulia. And then they also had a workshop on LCA, which was really interesting also for us to adopt circularity on the LCA process. And it was managed by Politecnico. And then they also had some visits to companies which already do apply circularity principles at several levels. So that is more or less the FLIER project. And we were not tackling the topic of gender equality specifically. But of course, as you have seen probably from the pictures, there are a lot of women involved, especially in the level of designer. What we need to do a little bit more is to have a higher engagement. In this case, I talk as a cluster and as a promotion center in the furniture sector. We need to do a lot from the manufacturing perspective. Where more and more women should be involved. So we are trying to do that in our specific contest from the startup perspective. So trying to support designers, but also producers, being women, to acquire the competencies they need also to start their new path in opening their companies. That's all from our side. Thanks.
Thank you, Renee. So we continue now with the next initiatives. In this case, is Be Wooden, Building an Education in Wood Ecosystem by Marta and Maria Chiara. But Maria Chiara at the last moment today cannot join us, so it will be just Marta Casanova from the Department of Architecture and Design from the University of Genoa, who is going to present this initiative. So thank you, and floor is yours.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you. Thank you. My name is Marta Casanova. I'm an architect and a researcher from the University of Genova. I'm truly pleased to be here to share a story from Liguria, a coastal region in northwestern Italy, about how we use to co-design to rethink social housing for an aging population. This experience is part of Life with Wooden, an European project that is not only focused on sustainability, but is also recognized as part of the European Bauhaus initiative. It's about creating living environments that are sustainable, inclusive, and beautiful, and doing so with people, not only for them. Wooden works on many levels. It builds capacity among professionals, encourages local supply chain, and creates spaces for experimentation, like the Innovation Lab and workshop I'll describe today. Wooden is built on an international partnership, and our team includes the University of Genova, University of Florence, University of Primorska in Slovenia, University of Wrocław in Poland, and also Regione Liguria, Arter, that is Emilia-Romagna Innovation Agency, Federlegno Arredo, and Housing Europe. The pilot in Imperia focuses particularly on social housing and the needs of elderly and fragile people to ensure that sustainability is also inclusive and socially rooted. So let me take you to Imperia, a coastal city in Liguria region of Italy, close to the French border. Here, a social housing building became the site for an experiment in co-design, participation, and sustainable renovation. This is the overview of the co-design process up to the construction phase, but now let's look at it in detail. Participants were selected through a public call among professionals involved and innovators also who had attended Life with Wooden training webinars. And the Innovation Lab took place in Genova on February of this year, and it was the starting point of this challenge. In that session, participants were introduced to the values of European Bauhaus and to the social and environmental objective of the project. And through a skill market session, participants shared their backgrounds and competencies from architecture and engineer to art, cultural work, and social innovation. And we matched 30 professionals and 18 innovators into 8 interdisciplinary teams, each one with a balance of technical and creative profiles. After the Innovation Lab in Genova, we moved to Imperia to connect with people who live and work with the local community. We organized this stakeholder speed dating that is an unusual but very effective format. Each team had short and focused conversation with the housing manager, local authorities, residents, and social workers, and also cultural operators. And the goal was to listen, to understand the needs, problems, and hopes directly from who know the building and the neighborhood of the building. But before starting to see to the challenge, the groups took a step outside, and we invite them to participate in an urban drift that is a slow, reflective walk through the neighborhood that surround the building. And each group was invited to explore the area following a color. So a different color for each team. And the color was not only a symbol, it became like a lens, even for who already knew the area, because some of the participants clearly were from Imperia. It led them to see different angles and details and hidden part of the city they had never noticed before. After this walking through the neighborhood, the team were invited to step inside the building itself at the end. This is a social housing building located in Via Pirinoli in Imperia. It was originally built as an holiday residence with several flats and a restaurant on the ground floor, and today is owned by Art Imperia and is partially occupied. Some apartments are inhabited and others are being renovated for the future elderly tenants. And during the visit, participants explore both indoor and outdoor spaces, observing the spatial configuration, accessibility, and also maintenance. Here you can see some images from the project that were presented. And by scanning the QR code, if you want, you can visit the Vivuden YouTube page and listen the project presentation by the participants themselves. I'm very sorry that Maria Cara, the member of the winning challenge team, cannot be here this morning to present the winning project, but I'll try to present it myself. So the winning team is made up of 3 men and 2 women, and it includes 2 architects, an economic researcher, a sociologist, and a social innovator. So it's a truly interdisciplinary group. The winning proposal envisioned the creation of a multi-purpose social cultural space within this social housing building in Via Perinoli. At its core, it features a modular wooden structure specifically designed to foster interaction and socialization among residents and social inhabitants. The shared space are conceived as flexible and inclusive, open to a wide variety of community activity and events, and they are designed to adapt easily to different needs, from a daily gathering to a larger social occasion, and to become catalysts of community life, not only for the residents. The project so aims to make the shared indoor and outdoor spaces usable and accessible, to enhance the comfort of the common areas, and to promote social interaction and exchange of skill among residents. The project is organized around 2 main areas. Indoor, on the ground floor, there will be a social bar and a multi-purpose hall and a social workshop. And in the outdoor, on the ground floor and the upper terrace, there will be an open air areas for summer events, gardening spaces, and direct connection to the cycling path that is near this area. So the overall design encourages a continuous and integrated use of these spaces throughout the year for the residents and the neighborhood. So the winning group decided to organize a self-building workshop. We involve architecture students from the University of Genova, students from the construction school of Imperia, and several volunteers who took turns building over 2 weeks and 4 weekends. We finished the construction last weekend, and we had a good response, especially from female architecture students. We had 12 architecture students and with 10 female students, and the 68 of the workshop participants and designers were women. And as you can see from the pictures, the construction site has always been full of young women. So this is our experience of this pilot action in Vivuden project. If you have any question, you have my email, you can write me. Thank you.
So thank you, Marta, so much for the presentation and about this nice project. And we go now with Lucia De Vescovi. She's Institutional and International Relation for Federlegno Arredo, and she's going to speak about the Pact of Skills for Skills, sorry, in the region of Lombardia, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Let me know if you can see my presentation.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, okay. So, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. And today I'm speaking on behalf of Federlegno Arredo, which is the Italian federation representing wood furniture industries. And I will present in particular the Territorial Pact for Skills and Employment in the Wood Furniture Sector, which is a pilot initiative that aims to address workforce challenges and promote inclusion. So let me start with a quick overview of the sector. As you can see from the data, the wood furniture industry is a strategic pillar in Italy, and it includes the wood, cork, furniture, lighting, and furnishing industries. And it contributed 2.4% to our GDP. So we are a strong sector, but unfortunately we face a challenge in terms of labor appeal, especially in a young people perspective. The causes are mostly three. Shortage of technical personnel, skill mismatch with what the industry really need, and of course lack of attractiveness to young people. Just to give you an idea, there are three figures that sum up the situation very well, in my opinion. We have a forecast that tell us that between now and 2029, we will need more than 38,000 people, workers. We have a reliance on immigrant labor, around 28% of workforce demand, and we have a seniority index that is huge because it's around 98 and shows a high ratio of employees over 55. So we have a clear signal that without action, the sector's sustainability and turnover is at risk. So how can we intervene? How do we respond? First, we need investment in vocational training, in reskilling and upskilling programs, and to build a strong collaborative partnership between schools, companies, and institutions. This brings us to a strategic response, which is the Territorial Pact for Skills and Employment, and a short description just to frame the project. It is a pilot initiative because it aims to be a sort of lab in which institutions, companies, schools, and associations can dialogue and find new solutions. The pilot is funded by Regione Lombardia and is coordinated by the province of Monza Brianza. And its goal is pretty clear, to improve employment opportunities and skill development in furniture manufacturing. The Pact focuses on vulnerable groups, including women in fragile condition, migrants, unemployed people, and we want to promote inclusive workforce participation. A strong fact that is that we have a diverse network of partners. We have public institutions, employers association, and trade unions and non-profit organization in a partnership that dialogues and find new solutions together. So I think it's quite important to underline it. But what are our objectives? So if you want to summarize them, we can say we want to match demand and supply, and especially supporting vulnerable groups. And the ultimate goal is to employ 40% of participants who complete the training programs. But this is also about breaking barriers, because we are currently dealing with a sector that is often seen as male-dominated, but it offers real opportunities also for women and also for vulnerable people. So through targeted training and job placement, we want to promote gender equality also in this sector. So the implementation, the strong part. How can we do this? How can we achieve this? Through 3 key action lines, which are the lines of the project. The first one is an analysis about what sector need. And the second one is about training programs for vulnerable workers. So we have included migrants and adult and unemployed adult, especially women. And the last one, the orientation, especially on youth, but also on the requirement of adult people. So the important part, in my opinion, is the training programs, because we have worked with schools, and schools have designed intensive courses, especially for these particular categories of workers. So courses are concentrated in time and provide essential skills in order to make them immediately available to work. So we have 2 parts: a preparatory language courses for people who are not Italian speaking, like migrants, and 3 different courses, professional courses, divided into 300 hours of classroom training and 200 hours in company. So we have 3 examples: eco furniture carpenter, wood artisan, and upholsterers. The participants are few, but our intention is in the future to expand this participation. So what do we expect from this? First of all, we need the formal employment at least 40% of its participants. Second one, promoting women's inclusion in the workforce in order to advance gender equality and especially women inclusion after a long period out of the workplace. And we want to have a model that we can replicate. So we want to generate best practice that can be adopted in other regions, because the project is currently on Monza Brianza territory. And then last but not least, foster a more inclusive and competitive industrial future in order also to make our industry to grow and not to lose its tradition and its expertise. So thank you for your attention. I was brief in order to make you able to ask some question, and I am at your disposal for this. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Lucia. As we said, you can write your question for the end of the speaker in the chat. And now I will go for the last presentation. It's Women in Construction, Wood and Forestry by Paula Gravina. She's the Communication Officer and responsible for gender in the European Federation of Building and Woodworkers. So you can share your screen, and thank you, Paula.
Thank you very much. Just one, I will have to leave the meeting right after my presentation because I have to run to another to another meeting. Share, and I think you can see my screen in good conditions. I hope, at least.
Yes.
Yes, good. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I will present our the EFBWW toolkit, something that we developed for basically for negotiators of collective bargaining agreements to use when negotiating the CBAs, the collective bargaining agreements. First, a bit of context. As many have said, women worker in the European construction, wood and forestry industries, and this guide is not only for furniture but includes other sectors. But women are severely underrepresented. Data shows that it's around 11%. It was in 2022, according to the Eurostat. But of course, this varies widely across professions and countries. If we are speaking about administrative or cleaning services in these sectors, so it's more than 50 or 60%. If we are talking about women in construction sites, it goes down to 3%, of course. And it varies across countries, across professions. A specific example, Belgium, if we speak about scaffolding, for example, it's 0.3%. So I think it's even an understatement saying that they're severely underrepresented. This is because of several factors. Fragmented nature of the industry, including layers of subcontracting, self-employment, temporary agency work, which makes these sectors unattractive, lack of knowledge about the industry and the lack of attractiveness of the industry. The mentioned already in the other presentations, traditional stereotypes, sexist attitudes, a male-dominated culture, a macho culture, still in our sectors. Also, inappropriate selection criteria for recruitment and career progression. Male-dominated vocational educational and training courses, and inappropriate and poor working conditions. This is related to long working hours, non-existence of or enough flexible working conditions, and work-life balance possibilities. So we decided to develop a toolkit with good practices, as I said, to be used by trade union representatives when they negotiate the collective bargaining agreements. We identified good practices, good examples related to gender, and we collected them, we organized them, and we developed this manual toolkit. This was done in partnership with the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung and with the University of Westminster. We have structured our toolkit in 5 areas: employment policies and practices, industry culture and image, HR policies and practices, working conditions, and vocational education and training. For each of these 5 areas, we identified the main obstacles, the main challenges, then recommendations, and we give some good examples and pinpoint some good practices that were put in practice by national trade unions in Europe. I will not go into each and one of our 5 areas, but I will go through the final recommendations. Of course, they are related to the areas that we identified. So the recommendations, basically, in the recommendations, we encourage the inclusion of equality and direct employment targets as part of the binding process and evaluation of suppliers and subcontractors. That a clear policy on gender equality is adopted, addressing direct and indirect forms of discrimination, with a focus on enforcement by setting sector-specific equality targets, which measure pay, working hours, and ensure that unions and workers' representatives across the gender and occupation are involved in the monitoring of these targets. To ensure that gender equality mainstreaming throughout human resources practices, and ensure that transparent recruitment and promotion procedures are implemented. To adopt and enforce a gender-sensitive occupational health and safety policy, which includes harassment. And something basic that many times is not present in construction sites, for example, access to separate and lockable changing rooms and welfare facilities, as well as properly sized professional equipment. It's as basic as this. Many times women don't have proper equipment that fits them. And that it's made for them. Also ensure that all employees, male and female, are entitled to decent work-life balance arrangements, monitor the use of these arrangements, and promote them widely to inspire cultural change within the industry. Also address gender imbalances in initial and continuous training and education, including through mentoring and outreach, and connect formalized education and recruitment. I will share 2 examples, specific examples on one on human resources, or 3 specific examples on human resources policies and practices. The first one, the obstacle that we identified: lack of formalized recruitment practices and procedures, inappropriate selection criteria, and word-to-mouth recruiting. The recommendation: use transparent and formalized recruitment and promotion procedures and criteria. And a good practice comes from the UK, an experiment that was conducted. A company carried out a blind recruitment, so no mentioning of names and gender. And as a result, half of the recruits were women. Another example on working conditions, in working conditions related to occupational health and safety. And then I will present another one on work-life balance. For the OSH, occupational health and safety, women have higher levels of occupational stress and injuries, and violence and sexual harassment. Collective bargaining agreements should improve the statutory minimum requirements in terms of occupational health and safety, should address sexual harassment in the workplace, and ensure employers have a no-tolerance policy on sexism, and include women in OSH committees. These are the recommendations. A good practice from the wood and furniture collective bargaining agreement in Italy in 2015. There are codes of conduct against sexual harassment and mobbing to prevent and to guarantee intervention and protection. The codes formalize the procedures to be put in place in the event of bullying or harassment. One last example, work-life balance. Obstacles, what I mentioned, long working hours, change in work location, and potentially long distance, and this makes the sectors unattractive. So recommendations: make sure that employers provide better maternity, paternity, parental leave than the statutory minimum requirements. Ensure holiday and pensions are not reduced as a result of maternity and paternity parental leave, and create flexible working hours and part-time where possible. This is difficult, we know, in our sectors, but when possible, create this kind of schemes and flexible working hours. Thank you so much. I don't know if the toolkit was shared, but then I can send it.
Not yet, but we will share even the presentation and so on in the Circular website. And also we are recording the
okay,
webinar.
I will share also the link to the toolkit
yes,
in the of
in
course.
the chat.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paula. So we have finished with the presentation of all the different initiatives. We have an overview at the very beginning with the challenges and opportunities made by Raquel. And we have seen different initiatives to empower women leaders and to acquire new knowledge or skill related with the circular economy. Okay, I see in the chat there is the message of Paula. Thank you all the speakers. If you have any question, just you can write in the chat. If not, before to finalize, I will just to notice that this is the first webinar of this conference cycle. The next one will be around April, so follow the Circular in social media. It will be about leading research and development projects for circular furniture, so more related with science in women empowerment. So thank you all the attendants, thank you all the speakers for your time, and that's all for today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you very much.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye bye.